Hello there, my name is Bruce Rain from Brankus Creations. Thank you very much for joining me for today's live stream. As usual, I'll do my little hello to everyone. So hello to Thomas Armstrong, hello Gibbertronics, hello Patrick Pitts, hello Sam Johnson, hello Roger Salter, hello Foxhounds477, hello BC Jeffro, hello, welcome to Macintosh, hello Mac84. Steve is joining us today. Thank you, Steve. He's been very busy with tape drives. I expect there's a video coming about that. Would I be correct in that assumption, Steve? Hello to Colin from This Does Not Compute. Hello Jared Burma. Hello Joe Williams. Hello Will from KMac Vintage. Hello Stian O. Hello Mr. Stu78. Mr. Stu78. I think I've got everyone. If I've missed anyone, please feel free to say hello again. Are everyone's names back to normal? My last live stream, everyone had weird names coming up in the chat. It sort of feels like everything's back to normal, but you know, I can't be certain. Did I say hello to Joe Williams? I think I did. But anyhow, I'll say hello, Joe Williams again. I have got myself a new heater down here in the workshop. This is it here. Runs on gas. Gas can goes in the back, and then heat comes out the front. Because it gets very cold down here in the workshop, and I have to be honest, this thing doesn't have any settings on it. It's just on or off, and holy cow, I think it's going to burn my leg off. But we'll see how we go. I might have to switch it off afterward. Hello, Ghostly Lurker. Hello, Grant. I did say, okay, I did. Hi again. Okay, well, I'll just start making a habit of saying hi to you like every 5 minutes throughout the video. I think that's probably the best thing to do. I have been quite busy over the week restoring floppy drives. So I had a fairly interesting situation where someone who is still using Apple IIgs, an Apple IIgs, in a sort of production environment, and they've got several reasons why they still use it rather than going to something new. But the biggest problem they've had is floppy drives failing, and we all know that they have that issue with the eject. So anyhow, this person sort of reached out like, oh, can anyone help me? And I said, look, send them to me. I'll give them all a once over. So 8 drives, there were 8 floppy drives, 8 external 800K floppy drives, and incidentally, one of them, a person had taken the original 800 out and put in a 1.4. Still seems to work fine as an 800. So, because obviously the 1.4 is of no use in the with the Apple IIgs. And so I basically had each one of those drives. I had to dismantle it, clean all the old grease off it, put new grease on. I'm using this stuff these days. I'm using this lithium grease. I found this to be really, really good. And I have a system basically whenever I do these drives, I dismantle them, obviously clean them. I ultrasonic the parts that come out, the metal bits, the bracket and the stuff at the front. And I pop them in the ultrasonic, and then I clean them and everything, and then I put new grease on them and that. And obviously with the eject motor, I take out the old cog. Here's one with missing lots and lots and lots of teeth. I got some crackers here. I mean, I got some here that just like crumbled. I should really change view, shouldn't I? Let's go to top view. I can do that with a foot. Look at that. So here we've got, oh, that ain't right. What's going on there? I'm doing things and you're not seeing them. They're not happening. So let me just see what's going on here. I probably just need to do a little bit of a thing. Say hello to the chickens for a minute. Hello, chickens. There we go. That's more like it. Shall we say hello to the chickens? I feel like we should. I've got Colin here. Colin always likes to say hello to the chickens. So, chooks, there we go. There they are. They just gave them a little bit of food. Yeah, they're chowing down. So there's 3 of the 4 there. The blind one, I'm not sure where she is. She's around somewhere, but she's not there. Okay, so let's go back to this top view. All right, so I'll just see how far I can zoom in. There we go. Oh, I can zoom in quite a ways, can't I? Look at that. You look at my beautiful toothbrush. I do not use this for cleaning my teeth. So we've had cogs like that with bunches of missing bits on them. Here's one where it had actually broken on the top cog rather than the bottom one. The bottom one's still intact, but the top one is broken. Here's one that isn't as good as it used to be. Here's some more, because, you know, you can never have enough eject cogs. This is the one, I did a little post on this. That's the one with the fewest teeth I've ever seen on a cog I've removed. But I do have to show you something. For anyone who's interested in floppy drive restorations, I do apologise if you're not, but for anyone who is interested in floppy drive restorations, I came across this. No, I came across this. How bizarre is that? That is an aftermarket one that has cracked. Now, I don't know where it came from or how old it is or whatever, but I opened up one of the eject motors and it was gone, and it's this. I don't know if it's been 3D printed or something or molded, but you can see it's kind of, this is really soft. This is all fallen apart around here. I just don't know what the story is with this one, but this is definitely dead. Yeah, so got rid of that one. All right. Oh my goodness, my leg is getting warm. Okay. What's the brand of that grease? Okay, so this is where it's a little bit difficult, because I'm in Australia and I buy things from Australian providers. This is a brand called Servisol, but this is kind of a house brand for JCar Electronics. So that's a chain of electronic stores out here, kind of like the old Radio Shack, I suppose. And so this is their brand. This is their kind of their house brand, and they sell all sorts of stuff. They sell isopropyl alcohol in spray cans. They sell flux cleaner, you know, all sorts of stuff, and they even have those air ones that, you know, blow the dust out of the corners. So yeah, this is what I've been using. But ultimately, there are plenty of lithium greases out there that you should be able to find without any major difficulty. Yeah. So. Yeah. Seriously, if you just walk into JCar, that brand, that Servisol, they got all sorts. So obviously, of use to people in Australia, not of use to people not in Australia. But if you're not in Australia, as I say, any form of lithium grease should do the trick. I ended up making this. This is a little design and 3D print of my own doing. And for anyone who's ever serviced a floppy drive, the purpose of this is for pushing the little Teflon washers back on. So I'm going to grab a drive and just show you. This is a pretty bad drive, but yeah, this one's a pretty bad drive. Don't even know if this one works. Look at the state of it. This one certainly hasn't been restored. Maybe it should be. But this one here, let me just. Oh, why isn't this one restored? I need to check. Okay, so maybe because of this rust on it. I don't know. But when you pull these apart, you need to remove these little Teflon washers like that. And when it comes to putting them back on, it's a little bit fiddly. So I just put that there like that. And I created this thing here which has a hole in it, which is the same size as this little hole, and then a flat bit, and you just push that on top and go boom, and just push it on like that. Just makes life so much easier. So hello to Zenilto, is it Gonçalves? I'm terrible with pronunciations of stuff, so I apologize if I'm not saying Zenilto Gonçalves. But anyhow, I apologise. Hello. Lithium grease, not the regular WD. Yeah. All right. So WD-40. It's a very, very important thing to note about WD-40. It is a tool specifically designed for like WD is water displacement, and WD-40 has its roles. It really does. WD-40 is an important thing, and it will serve as a lubricant if nothing else is around. But it isn't really the best thing to use as a lubricant, as a long-term lubricant for something like this. So yeah. Yeah. So yeah, WD-40 definitely do make a lithium grease. You can actually, I've seen it. Why the change from inox grease? Good question, Grant. I just found I was getting a better result with this stuff. Simple as that. Do not use it as a personal lubricant. That's very good advice. I can imagine that might sting. Yeah, so just a little bit of history for anyone. The reason why it's WD-40 is because they made a whole bunch of different formulas, and the one that they settled on was the 40th formula. So it's virtually like a version number, WD version 40. I'm going to turn this off because it really is freaking hot. This is the heater I'm talking about. Oh, that's turning it on. That's turning it off. There we go. Yeah, that's and I believe one of the ingredients in it is fish oil, but I could be wrong about that one. Because you can buy fish oil. You can just go into the hardware and buy fish oil. All right. Okay, all right. So I'm just going to whip off this. Oh, that's already been whipped off. But let's have a look inside this. I'm just curious about this drive that is in such a state. I haven't done anything to it. I haven't cleaned it. It's just sort of sitting here. And there's no sticker on the top of this motor, which always worries me. But we'll just have a look inside this motor. Okay, this has already got one of my flash cogs in. So these are my little homemade cogs. I've designed and made them. Even though there are STL files for these, I decided to go back and make mine from scratch because I just wanted to do it myself. Trust in myself. So let's have a look at that. Just going to grab a drill bit here because sometimes when I make these, the hole is a little snug, and so I just get a 2mm drill bit because that's the size of the little, whatever you call the thing that goes through. I could turn on an old computer or three. Yeah, it would be great if I had some G5 towers in here. The reason why I go with a gas heater as opposed to an electric one is because I've got so many things here. I'm all on the one circuit, and I really run the risk, if I had too much, that I would be just breaking fuses all the time. I mean, I've got my hot air station, I've got a little toaster oven there, I've got my ultrasonic cleaners, got my soldering iron, got a computer, got 2 screens. What else? I've got 3D printers. So yeah, I just figured that I'll make the heat come from a gas can rather than from any other means. Okay, so these are my my little eject cogs, and so I'll just do this very quickly because I want to put this back together, and I am going to service this floppy drive because why not? You can hear the sound of an ibis. Wonder if they're in the backyard. Let me just have a quick look. No, there's the blind chook. You can see the blind chook wandering around there. That's the brown one, the type of Sussex breed. That one. It looks like it's in slow motion. It is in slow motion. Why is the camera in slow motion? That is the bizarrest thing I've ever seen. Oh, never mind. Oops, not that camera. We want this camera. There we go, foot pedal. Is it hard expensive to run a second circuit? Hard no. Okay, so the way it works here in Australia, it is illegal for you to go in and make changes like that yourself. You have to go and get an electrician to do it. Doesn't stop a lot of people from doing it. A lot of people still do that sort of stuff. But technically, that sort of stuff, anything to do with mains power, 230 volt AC, needs to be done by an electrician. Now, I know how to do it. I could actually do it if I wanted to. I could go in and I could go to the main circuit breaker. I could put in a new breaker. I could run a wire down here and run a separate circuit into this. I could do all that. But technically I would be breaking the law. So, yeah. Okay. One really interesting thing, in my office, I have a G5 tower. Now, for people here that may or may not be familiar with a G5 tower, a Macintosh G5 tower, the interesting thing about it is it's a sort of computer that gets a lot of grief. And the reason why it gets a lot of grief is because they run very, very hot. And that was one of the reasons why they were never able to make a G5 laptop, is they simply could not get one to work in a laptop so that its power consumption was able to run off a battery and that it didn't generate huge amounts of heat. And it was also kind of the last Mac before Apple went to Intel. So in many ways, people look at the G5 and they go, oh, you know, this ridiculously hot, silly old computer, and it cops a lot of negativity. But what I always have to remind people, particularly people if they're interested in, you know, vintage computing, is that when the G5 first came out in 2003, it was released as the Tower, and of course it was all that aluminium frame or aluminum, that where essentially almost like the whole computer was a big heatsink. And it was an amazing design. It's a design they have kept going, you know, and they've just refined it when you think about the 2019 Mac Pro, or you think about all of the Mac Pros that came out as well, the Intel Mac Pros, that still use that sort of design, what they refer to as the cheese-grated design with the aluminium with all the little holes and stuff. Now, when that very first came out, and I bought one, I got one in 2003, brand new. It's one of the very few brand new computers I've bought. And I got the dual 2 gigahertz version. So it was the highest spec version you could buy at the time. There was I think it was a dual 1.8 and a single 1.8, I think, and a dual 2 gigahertz. And I've got to tell you, when that computer came out, that was the fastest thing around. Just bar none. I mean, I would do speed tests in comparison with people with super fast PCs, and the G5 would just wipe the floor with them. It was so fast. And it's really, really easy to forget that. You can just look at it from the perspective of by the time Apple were putting a slowed down G5 chip into an iMac case, you know, the white iMac case, you look at that and you sort of think, by that stage, Apple needed something else that they weren't able to get, they couldn't get from a G5. And so I just always like to remind people that while the G5 did become a little bit of a kind of an industry joke eventually, when they first came out, they were fast. What does it cost to get an electrician out for a job like that? In Norway, we're able to do most of it ourselves, but had to get an electrician out to come inspect our work. Yeah, you might be able to do that here. I don't know. What it would cost is expensive. Trades are fairly expensive out here. I would think that if I were to employ someone, I don't know this for certain, I'm guessing, but I would think if I was to employ someone to run a separate circuit for this, keep in mind that this workshop is outdoors, so there's going to be a bit of fun and games getting the wire across open air. Probably have to bury it and put it into some conduit or something like that. I can't imagine I'd be getting much change from $1,000, would be my thing. Just checking the old chats here to make sure I haven't missed anything. I might even revert back to my other heater. This is my little mini heater that I have here. One of the advantages of this one, I mean, there are lots of disadvantages to this one. It's ridiculous shape. It's awkward. The gas can hangs out the side, out the back like this. But one of the good things about this is it's adjustable. So I can crank it right up. And that, I can turn it down. There we go. So this will probably provide me with a little bit of warmth, but not too much. Where am I going to put it? Okay. I feel like that's very dangerous. How about there? I feel like that's pretty dangerous too. I can smell burning hair. There we go. That'll do for now. Alright, so I've got this all ready to go. I'm going to add some grease to it. This is my lithium grease. You squirty squirt, squit, 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 squit. I'll get my little cog that I just had here. And I'll go squitty, squit, squit, squit. There's way more grease than I need. I know that. But, you know. Okay. And this one, squitty, squit, squit. There. Come on, there you go. Right, and the next thing I do, this is one of the things that I do when I'm restoring these drives. Let's clip this back in place. There we go. Okay, I get a couple of bits of wire. Switch on my soldering iron. What I could do is I could just run really, really big wires. Look, as I say, at the end of the day, it is something I would be quite happy to take on, running a separate circuit here, other than the fact that I have to get under the house, which I'm not very good at anymore. Not as agile as I once was. You know, bending down to get under the house. The space under the house, I'm on a sloping block, so the space varies. It's in some spots it's at sort of crouching height, and in other spots it's lying down height. I would have to have both heights. Alright, so I then solder a couple of wires to the motor, and I send 12 volts to it, and I let it run for a while, and just sort of see how it goes. That's really good. That's only using 0.074 amps. So what is that? 74 milliamps. Just an hello there. And so the fact that it's only using that means it's moving smoothly. It's getting very little resistance. Most of the time when I restore these motors, they're up over 80 milliamps. So this is good. That's great. If I actually apply some, there we go, we get it up over 200 milliamps. But so anyhow, I just run these to make sure that they're all running smoothly. You can actually hear a sound as they spin around. It's like a and that sound is actually inside here, inside this little box. There's a little mechanical switch, and every time this does a rotation, it bends the mechanical switch off and back on again, and that's how it lets it know it's done a rotation and should not keep spinning and should stop. So yeah, you can hear it on the stream. Good. I'm glad of that. Okay, so this looks good, and then of course whenever you're doing this, you should always finish there. Get the dot back out there. It makes it much easier for installation. Oh, there we go. Switched off the power. Okay, so I've done a little. I had no intention of doing that, but I have done it. So there we go. I am going to clean up and restore this drive, but I will do that in another stream. Now I had a really funny thing. I did a thumbnail for today's live stream. Thank you to my wife for taking my photo. And as I was putting the photos together for the thumbnail, I think I found out why the computer hasn't got any sound, but just by looking at the photos. So we'll have a look, we'll have a closer look at it. The other thing I need to do today, I'm going to do this very quickly before I start on the sound issue. This is one of my CPU pullers, 68040 CPU puller. Here's one here, and here's another one. This one needs to be glued, so I'm going to do that now. So the way this works is you got this part here, and then you got these two parts like that, and then you put a little bolt inside like that, or nut. That's a nut, that's not a bolt. And then glue these together. And I want to glue these together so that they're gluing, drying, drying, gluing, gluing, drying, while I am doing other stuff. So I don't think I've made this available on Thingiverse yet. I had meant to, but I have not. I've put a lot of glue on here. This is going to dribble everywhere. I might get some off. But anyhow, I'm making these. I've taken forever, but I'm making these for James Wages. I'm going to send him a couple, so he has two. He doesn't have a 3D printer, so I said I'd print these for him. I was meant to do it ages ago, but with all the sickness and everything that I've been having lately, it's sort of made life a little bit tricky. Okay. And I prefer to do this gluing down in the workshop because I did it up in the house before, and I got all this super glue on the dining room table. It's a good thing, it's a lucky thing though that we're getting a new dining room table soon, so it doesn't matter too much, but I'll tell you what, I'd be in trouble if I did that with a new one. Right, so that is gluing and happying and all good, and then the other thing I do is I just put a spring in here so that it goes back to the position. When you lift it up, you can undo it and it'll go back down again. All right. That's all good. Right, so now we're going to have a look at... I'll make myself a little bit of space here. I need enough room to stick a logic board on the table. As I mentioned, I have been doing a lot of floppy drive restorations here, so you'll find little clues that I've been doing floppy drive restorations in the form of like little gears everywhere and stuff like that. Let's just zoom out the camera if I can find that. I'm very happy to be able to do this sort of restoration work for people. I do charge a little bit for it. I don't charge what it's worth in terms of my time. But you know, it's a bit hard to do that. You can go back to someone and say, "Yeah, I've restored all your floppy drives. That'll be $1,000." You're like, "Yeah, no, that's not gonna fly." Oops, forgot to type earlier. Yes, tape drive shenanigans will likely end up in a video if I don't break it. That is good to hear. All right, let's get this out of the way. Let's make a little bit of space. And some TWEEZERS. And here's all my broken cogs. Broken cogs. More broken cogs. I do like to keep the broken cogs because you never know. One day I might need to do photos of them for something. I'm still working on my on-shape tutorial video. I have recorded one section like 3 times now and I'm still not happy with it, but I think I've come up with a solution of how to make it work. So I don't know if I'm going to re-record it or just try and make do with what I have recorded so far. But yeah, I just had this fear in it that it's just a bit of an information overload at one section. So what I want to do is I'm going to break it up a little bit. Foxhound 477. I've already said hello to you, haven't I? Or you're probably saying hello to someone else. John Humus? I haven't said hello to you. Mark Anning, I don't think I've said hello to you either. Goodness me. Who else haven't I said hello to? Rudy's here. Hello there, Rudy. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Look at this. I had a floppy drive, that one of the drives that came with the floppy in it, and I took the floppy out, and that stayed behind. It happens. So I'm just making myself a little bit of space here. I don't need a huge amount of space, but I do need some space. Right. Oh, God. These are meant to go in this bag as well. Now, if you're wondering why my floppy eject cogs are blue, it's because I used a strong resin, tough resin, which is totally unnecessary. The normal resin is strong enough in my tests. I did some tests setting up a floppy drive, simulating ejects, and I literally had it do thousands and thousands and thousands of ejects, and the cog was fine. So, yeah. Unnecessary. Right, where's the computer? Here it is here. This is an LC2. Oh, where's my remote so I can zoom out a bit? That's what I was looking for. That's one of the reasons why I was tidying up. Trying to find my little remote control. But as usual, in this shed, or on this desk, within a very short span of time, things that were right in front of me end up a long way away. They get pushed out of the way. Oh, poops. I'll just do it manually. Here we go. That's better. Oh, I put it up here. Why would I do that? Because I'm an idiot. That's why. All right, so I've got a B on this one, see? B. That means breakers. It means it's mine and it's no one else's. It's not a customer's. It's mine. Now, one of the great things about the LC2 is the schematic diagram has been re-illustrated. I don't know who did it. I mean, the credit might be in there somewhere, and I probably should look and give that person their due credit, because well done to that person. But, wowzers, re-illustrated. We got a whole new, so you can search it and everything. You can search for, like, SND for sound. And so, yeah. Now, I'm going to put this in the bin, just because there's space there. I just have to not forget and accidentally throw that away. Whoopsie. Yeah, there we go. All right, so now we're going to actually get into the meat and potatoes. There we go. So, sound. Sound basically comes from this region here. This is the area where, you know, more or less this region. Yeah, I should go back to the top view, shouldn't I? So we can actually look at it. So this area here, that's where all the sound comes out of. And this is our little eject thingy, little speaker thingy, who's a thing. I should have brought some headphones down, shouldn't I? So I can plug them in and we can see if we're getting sound through headphones. I might have to do that, we'll see. Well, have a look first. If we don't see anything obviously wrong, then the next thing I'll do is I'll plug in headphones and see if we're getting sound through that. Yeah, so, yeah, and then we'll move from there. There's a sound chip, there's an amplifier chip, you know, any one of these things could be the problem. I've got my oscilloscope here, so I can always check to see if I'm getting a sound signal, that sort of stuff. All right, so let's go into the scope view now, and we'll have a little look-see. That's as far back as it'll go. So, when I was looking at some photos, there were a couple of things that caught my attention. Now that I look at it, I see that they are just fluff. I don't think we've got a major issue here. I was worried that there was actually a solder ball. Now, there is a solder ball, which you can see just here, but it's not making contact with anything else. There's some bits of fluff in between here. There's a bit of fluff in between there. There's a little bit of fluff here, but it does look like it's only fluff. I don't think it's actually making contact. But you can see that a lot of these are all really crusty. We've got this one down here as well. Crusty, crusty, crusty. So it probably wouldn't hurt to resolder them. And then I noticed, oh, that's a little bit of component adhesive. So, yep. Okay, so some of these traces don't look particularly good. But I think we're still okay. I think we're making contact. That looks awful. So probably resolder all of these. That's really bad, because essentially what happens is all of these old capacitors leak. They leak their electrolyte on this, which accelerates the corrosion on all of this solder here. And I can clean it all off, but if you have a look at, say, this side of the board, you know, when you clean some... Oh, wow, look at that, that's nasty. When you're, say, here, this is somewhere where there was no corrosion. You see how shiny they come up? They're all nice and clean, but then this side, they're all dull and lifeless, listless. Yes, that'd be my first thing. So after the initial inspection, the very next thing that I do is just check to see if I'm getting sound out of the headphones, because there is there's a little switch inside, and it's this one here. You can actually see. Can you see? Can I get it from the side? Let me see if I can get it from the side. In here, can I get it? Can I get it? It's sort of a bit out of focus, but inside here, there's a little switch. And that little switch makes sure that you don't get sound through the headphones and the speaker at the same time. It actually flicks between the two. And so that's what we have to ascertain whether that is the case. And the main way I'm going to do that is plug in some headphones, try and play some sound, see what happens. Who's asking that? There are YouTube videos that can show you how to use a multimeter or oscilloscope. Oh, here we go. I can solder very well now, but I still don't know how to use a multimeter oscilloscope. Okay, so multimeter, pretty straightforward. You know, look, there are lots of different functions. Probably one of the most common functions I use a multimeter for is testing continuity, and that's where it sends an incredibly small amount of little power through between the two pins, and then it detects whether power is getting through. So I can say, oh yes, there is continuity between this point and this point, electricity is flowing, as opposed to if there is a break in that, and then you don't get continuity. That's pretty straightforward. You'll be able to find that. Now, when it comes to learning how to use an oscilloscope, I recently did a review of this product here, which is the Finersi 2C53T. In that video, in the description, I've got a link to a beginner's guide to using an oscilloscope, and it's really good, so recommend that. YouTube now has ads in the live stream. It has for a while, I'm afraid. Hardware Hacker, hello there. Okay, now I'm going to go grab a set of headphones. I do apologise, I'm going to have to pause this so soon after starting, but I just realised that this is really the very first diagnostic step I should take, is plugging in some headphones. So I'm going to go grab some headphones, and then we'll check and see if we're getting sound through the headphone socket. If we are, then it is probably the switch here, either that or maybe a problem with the amplifier. All right, so I'm just going to do the little back soon. So my apologies, everyone. Just talk amongst yourselves until I return. Hello, eh? Sorry, I just grabbed Tim Tam. Sorry about this. When I grow up, I want to be Brankus. Thank you. I don't know what I want to be when I grow up. Sorry, I'll eat this very quickly. Probably should mute it, shouldn't I? Because it's got to sound awful. Yeah, I'm going to replace this SCSI connector. It does look horrible. Right. Now, one of the things with the LC2 is there's some grounding stuff. What is it making contact with? All these things. I don't understand the exacts of what you need to do, but it does actually make sense when you're testing the sound to plug it into the chassis. Into the chassis. Otherwise you may not get sound at all. We've already established that the hard drive in this thing works. I haven't backed it up yet, but I will. Next time I fire up the hard drive, I'll definitely back it up. There's that. Okay, we're going to plug in the speaker. Not going to worry about the fan at this stage. Won't be on long enough to generate much heat. How did that get all the way over there? I ask you. I have added the math coprocessor socket. Yes, I did that in the last live stream. I would not. I cannot allow an LC2 to come my way and not have a math coprocessor socket added. So, unless someone specifically asked me not to add it, I will add it. Alright. Okay, so I'm going to try and switch this on. Goes. I should just plug in the screen quickly, so that we know that we are actually, it is actually booting, and it's not some other weirdness going on, but this thing has booted all along, so unless I broke it during recapping, which is not entirely out of the question. Yeah, look at that. We've gone straight into a grey screen, and any minute now. There we go. There's my little cursor. We're romming. So that's all I ultimately wanted to know. I wanted to know the computer is definitely working. So it should be chiming. But instead, it sounds like a theremin. Little reference there for anyone. Any theremin fans out there? I'm going to turn this heater off. It's too much. It is a cute little display. So that display was actually bought as a video monitor for video camera. So when I'm doing video recordings for the channel, I have that so that I can see what's being filmed. Because a lot of the time I'm filming this stuff by myself. So I set this up so that I can watch what I'm filming. It's nice and small and portable. It's battery operated, so it's all great. But it also, it has a little VGA thingy in it that interprets so many different resolutions. So it's actually really good for these old computers because it shows just about anything. I wish I could get a, what do you call those things, a scaler that had this VGA thingy built into it. Nick from Apples Anonymous is here. Hello there. YouTube says I should look at this channel. Well, I am not going to get in the way of YouTube recommendations. If that's what YouTube recommended, then I think we just have to follow it, don't we? For sure. Welcome. I am working on a vintage Macintosh computer. I'm not sure if that's of any interest to you whatsoever. So on the channel here, I'm basically restoring vintage computers and doing soldering, electronic soldering techniques, that sort of stuff. That's my thing. And then talking about movies most of the time as well. Okay, so the first thing I need to do is plug in my headphones so I can see if I'm getting sound through these. So I'm going to plug the headphones into the headphone socket, which I believe is that one. If it's not, I'll feel a fool. Oh, that's the microphone one. So I was looking at the wrong one all along. But that's okay. Doesn't make any difference. Alright, I'm going to listen to this first by myself. And then I'll let you guys listen to it. Same sound. So, okay, that it's sort of telling us a lot, but I don't know if you can hear that. There we go. Oh, I haven't got the fan plugged in, so I made a conscious decision that this would not be on long enough. Well, I got the lid off, so the fan's just about useless anyway. The fan's probably more important for the power supply than anything. Nothing really gets particularly hot on these old boards. All right, so headphone socket works. The little switch that switches between the speaker and the headphones, that works. So we're all good there, but we're just not getting any sound. So we're going to have to start. Doing like diagnostics and stuff. Isn't that awful? Sorry, everyone. That's the boring stuff. All right, I'm going to fire up. Alright, so just bear with me a minute here. I'm going to grab a keyboard. And we're going to go to Dropbox. And then I'm going to go to Mac Technical Files. I've got a folder called Mac Technical Files. Macintosh 68K Schematics, LC2, PDF. Let's bring him up here so I can share it with you guys. There we go. So here is the schematic for the LC2, and as you can see, someone has actually gone and re-illustrated it, so that makes life a lot easier. We can go in, we can search for words and things and stuff. Now, what I'm going to search for is, I'm going to search for SND. SND. Right, we've got, this page has 18 matches, which makes me think we're all soundy stuff here. So let's have a look here. The chat has disappeared while I'm doing this, so I better click on it and make sure that I am not missing anything important. But it is boring. Oh, sorry. I mean, I find doing less boring than the diagnostic side of things. I do, and I apologise for that. So yeah. Right. So what I want to do is, first of all, I want to grab the sound chip and I want to check the sound out, and I want to have a look at that with the oscilloscope to see if we're getting any sort of signal from that. Because if we're not getting sound from the sound chip, then the problem is either with the sound chip or something to the sound chip. If we are getting sound from the sound chip, then it's probably happening at an amplifier level. Yeah, this is way better than the Beaumark schematics. I don't even know how this one found its way to me. There was just a period of time there where all of a sudden I started getting people saying, hey, here's a schematic. And here's another schematic. And I was each time I'd grab it, I'd put it in a folder and go, oh, awesome. Just give me schematics. I want schematics. Yes, bring me more schematics. And then, yeah, this sort of, this is just one of them that arrived at that time. But yeah, someone's redrawn it and everything. It's great. Okay, so if we go here, I think it's this one. A to B connector. No, we don't want that. This is on DFAC. Okay, DFAC, that's the audio chip, so that's UB10. We better zoom into this so that you guys can see it, because at the moment I can't even bloody see it, so I can't imagine you can. Right, so sound O, sound out, SND O, and this is UB10. Right, let's change the view. I can do that with my foot pedal to this one. And let's see if we can find UB10. U10? What? Is it UB? What? UB10. What's UB10 and RB11? How about that? I feel like it's just U10. I don't know why it says UB10, because it's got to be this guy. There's 28 pins by the look of it, so no, it'd be more than that. 1, 2, 3. That can't be it. Can it? Because isn't that the B10? What? It's got to be this guy. Yeah. UA10. Yep. Okay. It's this one. It's that guy there. UB10. I mean, I know that. I don't know why. It's so long since I've worked on an LC2. This is something I know. I know this stuff. It's a that thing. Yeah. So this is the egret chip. What I was pointing at before. That's the egret chip. Oh, piss off! Not you guys. Something came up on the screen I didn't want. So that's the egret chip there. That's the sound chip up there. And I knew this. I don't know why. I guess I'm now starting to forget things. I'm that age. All right. Now this is a what do they call them? PLCC chip, plastic leaded chip carrier, and they are notorious for getting what do you call them, like solder balls and stuff stuck in them. So we'll have to have a look. 3:51 a.m. That's early. What is it? It's 11:51 here, and UB40. Red wine. Sorry, let's stop the singing. Okay, so this is the chip here. I'm just going to change over to my scope view, and we'll have a little bit of a zoomy there in that. And it looks pretty cruddy around here. Look at how crunchy it is on the side here. So I think it would be a logical thing to whip this off, clean up all these pads, and stick it back on again. I feel like that's the most logical thing to do. So, because it really does look bad. I mean, I'm going to grab this from the side so you can see. Okay, so they don't look too bad. Yeah. They're a little bit crunchy. They're very crunchy. Yeah, I mean, look. I still feel like they're probably all making contact, but we'll clean it up. We'll stick it back on. You know, why not? Because we can. I'm going to drop some flux on this. I am using SteriFlux. There are links in the description. The one that I'm using for this is called V5. And this is a pretty good flux. It's not the one I use all the time. The one I use all the time is ASM. But it's still a very, very good flux, and much better if you don't have fume extraction. Right, so this is what, 344S1033-A. Now, if this chip is faulty, I can grab one off another board. I'm pretty sure I have a donor LC2 board floating around somewhere. So I can just whip it off if I haven't already taken it off and given it to someone else, because I have had that happen as well. There we go. Chip gone. Chip away. And now we have to just clean things up under here. Ground is really easy to find on boards, to be honest, John, because let's take a look at this, for example. I was going to show you this board. All of things like this, like that metal there, which I'm going to fix up, that's all grounded. All this stuff is grounded. That's grounded. These are grounded. They're all ground. On this board here, you can actually see that's ground there, and you can see all this printing on the board. That's ground. So finding a ground is pretty easy. So once you actually know where your ground is, you can then grab a multimeter, like this one. Sorry, this is the one that's closest to me at the moment. This is not the one I normally use. You can put this onto a continuity mode like that. Beep. I probably need to widen out my view here. What do you reckon? There we go. So you can put this on a continuity mode. Beep, 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 beep. And you can, there's a known ground. I know that's ground. And then you can use this to find ground. Let me find another ground. There'll be one here somewhere. Found one. There we go. Right there. There's a ground there. So, yeah, I mean, ground, in particular with something like this, ground is really easy to find because it is in, it is in places like on these connectors. All right, cleaning. That's what we're doing. And that's right. I know that's what I'm here for. I'm here to. I have sort of said before about my channel. The main thing about my YouTube channel is sharing information, and that can be people sharing it with me or me sharing it with other people. I can share what I know, but I don't know everything. That's for sure. So I'm always happy to answer questions. Now, fume extraction, please. Okay, that's a bit better. I need to get all these pads looking nice and shiny. As you can see, they're a bit crusty at the moment. If I try and put solder onto them, it doesn't cover the whole pad because there's all this corroded, crunchy stuff there. So I'm just using a bit of heat, a bit of fresh solder, a bit of flux, and some gentle rubbing. Emphasis on the gentle. Until these pads no longer have crusty bits. Sometimes they're so crusty I have to scrape them, manually scrape them with a scalpel, but at the moment these ones seem to be playing along just with this gentle rubbing. Gently, gently, gently. Alright, and then I shall get some of my solder wick. Wickety whack. Oh, I just dropped something. Oh, it's the remote. The remote for my camera. Yeah, no more coughs. I'm pretty much cleared up. I mean, I had a really nasty virus, so I still have some kind of long-term stuff. I sometimes just get a bit tired out of the blue. But my cough is pretty much gone. It lingered for a while, but I'm feeling pretty good nowadays. So just anyone who is new and is not aware of this, I got shingles. And before the shingles had even fully cleared up, I then got influenza A. And it was really nasty. I don't ever recall feeling as sick as I did when I had that flu. I had some days there where I was just sitting there going, just having to remind myself, I am going to feel better soon. I will feel better soon. I just need to ride this out. I will feel better. Because, oh man, it was nasty. Real nasty. I had weeks off. The shingles weren't as bad as other people have had. I've heard horror stories about shingles. The shingles that I had, I got onto the antivirals quite quickly. And I literally, the very, very first hint of a rash that came up. I knew there was a rash coming. Well, no, I didn't know there was a rash coming. But I had this feeling on my skin that wasn't right. It felt like a bruise. It felt like someone had punched me. And then I saw a little bit of a rash. And that was when I sort of went, aha. So I saw the little tiny bit of a rash. I took a photo of it so I could zoom in on it. And I could see that it looked like photos I've seen in the past of a shingles rash. It was tiny, but I literally just hopped into the car and went straight to the doctor. It was a Saturday night, Sunday night, might have been a Sunday night, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was a Sunday night. My wife was having a nap, and I just hopped into the car, headed straight to the doctor, and he just put me straight onto the antivirals, and I think that helped a lot. All right, this is looking a lot better now, looking a lot cleaner, but I do want to grab my trusty scalpel, if I can find it. It's on the desk here somewhere. Because here it is, here's my scalpel. Oh, hello. Okay, and alrighty. So just want to make sure that these are all looking good. And I'm also going to test the continuity of some of these. Do you see this? It might be fine. But can you see how there's kind of like a little dark mark between the pad and the trace coming out of it? It might be okay. I think it is okay. But I definitely want to test the continuity of that. So let me grab my other multimeter. Here we go. I like this multimeter. This is the Kaiweets HT118E multimeter. I did a review on this one, and I quite like this one. There's a lot to like about this one. I love multimeters, by the way. I have lots and lots of multimeters because I love multimeters. I have sort of, I'm never far away from one, put it that way. Right, let's get that into focus for folks. There we go. That looks focusy to me. Okay, so I need to go from there to there. Okay, we've got continuity. How about from there to there? Come on. That ain't good. There to there. Oh, we have got a break. It looks like, because that goes, I mean, oh, you can't even see it. What an idiot. Idiot. So just a reminder to everyone, when I look through the microscope, I'm seeing a circle, a big circle. What you're seeing is a rectangle out of the middle of that circle. So I can actually see a lot more than you guys can. So I sometimes forget, and I'm doing stuff and you can't see what I'm doing. Okay, so there's a blob of solder here, right? And there's a pad here, and I'm checking between the two, and I'm getting no buzz. And this then goes down to this capacitor here, and I'm getting nothing from there either. So that suggests to me somewhere along this trace here is a break. So let's clean it up and see what we can find. Yeah, see, we've got that little dip in there again. Let's just check that now. From there to there is fine. From there to there is unfine. No contact between there and there. So we've already found one break, so that's great. So yes, Bodwa. Did I miss a few models of Kaiwets? So, no, so the other one, which I now actually have up in the house, it's not here, that's my house multimeter now. So that was the Kaiwets, I can't even remember what the name of the model, I used to know it so well, KM601? Does that sound right? Kaiwets KM601? Someone will know. So I love that multimeter, yeah, the 601. So I love that multimeter. I love its great big screen. It's in color and all that sort of stuff. And it has loads and loads of benefits. What actually happened was when I was actually looking at the Kaiwets affiliate page, so that's a page where, so when I say to someone, hey, you got this one and there's a discount if you buy it from my link, I can then see how many people have bought them. And I went onto the page and I noticed that some people had come in and not bought the 601. They'd bought a completely different one. They'd bought one called an HT118E. So I contacted Kaiwets and I said, look, some people are going in and buying this one. I'd like to try this one out as well. I think it's a little bit more expensive or around about the same sort of price. It's a very different sort of multimeter. This is the more traditional one with the clicky wheel on it. And I grabbed it, and yeah, I quite like this one. I like the fact that it's got a clicky wheel, so yeah. If it doesn't say Kaiwets, it's garbage. And then, of course, I've got another multimeter here, which is the Fume, and that's the one that I use because it's got an oscilloscope built in, and that is really handy, and we will probably use that in this video. So won't that be fun? All right, so we've got one break here. We know that. I could probably just fix that with a bit of solder, but I will probably run a wire from this little hole here to there, just to be safe. But it does mean we have to go in and check every single one of these. So we've got that one there, going to here. So there's 2 breaks. Three. Huh. Whoopsie. Whoops-a-daisy. Just working my way through all of these. Where does this one go? Oh, crap. Sometimes I just get lazy and I can't be bothered tracing the whole thing out, so I'll just scrape a little hole, expose some copper. Cool. Cool. That one looks okay, so I'm not too fussed about that one. I can see it. I can see it. Okay. Beep 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 beep. You did it. I heard you do it. Oh, God. Don't vex me. I need to get some pointier tips on these. These are huge. I like a pointy. Yeah, look, I will say to everyone, I have said this many times in my videos before, I feel like a good microscope is one of the most important things if you're going to be doing this sort of stuff. For me, it's an essential item. My eyes just simply are not good enough to try and do this without a microscope. The microscope is probably one of the most expensive things in my workshop, in particular because I had to buy this from overseas, and it was very, very heavy, so delivery cost a lot of money. This is a trinocular microscope, so I can see through I can see through stereo, so I can actually see depth. So when I look through the microscope, I can actually see depth when I'm looking at stuff. It makes it a lot easier to handle as opposed to just seeing through one eye. But then this also has a camera attached to it, obviously, and the camera actually borrows, there's a little prism in there, and the camera borrows the view from my right eye. So when I look through this, you're seeing what I see through my right eye. Before this, I used to use a digital microscope. Gets the job done, nothing wrong with it at all. But I will say that an analog one like this, an optical one like this is definitely the way to go. If we want to talk about small traces, I mean, I did a repair on a 2018 MacBook Pro, Apple Mac Touch Bar, and oh my goodness, the traces, the vias are insane. The vias are just the tiniest little bit of wire that goes between the layers. On here, vias are these great big round things. See these things there? That's a via right there. That's a via right there. They're great big chunky things on the new boards. Vias are just a dot. They're just a little dot. Trying to get some solder onto them is just insane. All right, so this one looks okay as well. Let's go, we'll just work our way along here. So we've got bip, good, 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 good. These ones I'm going to have to probably make a little hole in these because, oh no, that one just goes to there. I can go from there to there. Awooga. Oh no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Lying to myself. All of these bits of copper that I'm exposing, I will then cover them up later on with some UV solder mask. So, as I say, this is just laziness, so I don't have to go and trace all these out. Good. 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 All right, so we've got, I think it was three. We had three broken ones. We have the broken one here. We had a broken one here. And I think one of these was broked as well. Let's just check that again. That's good. Yeah, it was this one. This one, as you can see, it's just joining between these two pins here. So essentially what happens, this is really common. This happens all the time. So there's, I've just sort of mentioned this now. You've got a trace that runs across here, and then the trace becomes a pad. Now, what happens is when they first do the copper part of it, this would just be one single line of copper that then turns into this pad. Then they put UV mask on it, and the UV mask goes on top of the trace, but it doesn't go on top of the pad. As you can see, it's left this little opening for the pad. The point where there is an edge of the UV mask, like right here, right at this point here, it leaves itself sort of very open for corrosion, because stuff can get in there and then be sealed in underneath that UV mask. And so it's a really, really high likelihood of corrosion around this area. So, oh, I'm scraping the wrong one. That one was good. Okay, there we go. Okay. All right, so we've got to do some bodge wires. Now, the trick with this is, do I put the chip on first and then run the wires afterwards? Or do I put the wires on first and then run the risk of the wires going during the process of putting the chip on? I think it makes sense for me to put the chip on and then run the bodge wires. So this is my chip. That's what we call fries in this country. A chip. I'll have some chips, please. It's also what English call crisps. We say them chips as well. You have to know the context. Right, going to clean this up. And so I've got this little holder here. It's a little aluminium thing that you can use to hold chips. And people constantly ask me where I got this. I haven't been able to find links to buy one of these again, so I do apologise. There are other ones like it, but in terms of getting this exact one, I have been unsuccessful. At least we know the sound chip is probably okay, because we've got all those busted traces. Oh, I'm making myself bloody hungry. Crazy. Alrighty. I'm going to just get some fresh solder onto these, and then I'm going to clean it off. Fume! Fume! And we're going to have to do something about the sides of this chip as well, because it looks pretty bad. I want to try and clean it up a bit. Yes, that's takeaway is what we call takeout. No, takeout is what we call takeaway. Chips and fries mix up when I was in the US. At Disneyland, I got a hot dog and chips and got no chips, so I complained and I got chips and then I had 2 packets of chips. Yeah, I guess that's something you'd have to keep reminding yourself. I was chatting to my cousin a while ago. My cousin lives in America. He's actually here in Australia at the moment. My cousin lives in America, in California, and this is something he was telling me from when he very first moved over there. He said, although he sort of has an Australian accent, he would find himself saying things with an American accent just so he could be understood. So when he'd walk in and he'd want to say, like the confusion between the number 40, or 14. So he would, say things like 14, because if he said 14, the way an Australian says 14, the people are like, 40? No, 14, because that's just the way we talk. That's crazy Aussies. I'm looking for a thing, which I'm pretty sure is on this desk somewhere, but I just have to find it. If I can't find it, I can do without it. But it is a thing which I use on chips to clean them up. It's very, very light sandpaper. It's a sanding tool for fingernails. And my wife had one of these, and I was like, oh my goodness, this would be perfect. So I bought a whole bunch of them. And I have like one up in the house, and I've got like 2 down here or something like that, but I've got no idea where they are. So I'll have to live without them. Never mind. Okay, so let's just have a look here from the side, because I want these pins to look good. Yeah, that's good. These could probably do with a bit of a scrapey dape. Hot. Bernie's. Bernie's hot, hot, hot Bernie's. They're right. This has come up remarkably well, all things considered. I think there is drag racing on at the moment. So I live, oh geez, a long way away from a drag racing track. But drag cars are so loud that on the days when they are doing drag racing, I can still hear them here depending on the wind direction. Great. Okay, that's looking good. This is a good chip. Yes, of course, you guys would have had a lot of fireworks, wouldn't you? Because I believe there was a celebratory 4th of July type thing happening yesterday. Oopsie, dropped my thing. Important thing. Oh man, noises. Got it. Phew. Right. Okay, so I've got to put this chip back on, and then we're going to clean some traces. Now, I'm just going to, some of these things that have been, where I've exposed copper, that looks broken, doesn't it? But it's not. Okay. I am going to put a whole wad, a metric wad of flux on here, and I'm just going to gently get some solder onto some of these exposed areas of copper. Okay. Mr. Tech Gadget, hello there. Yep, it's already chip scraping time. So, almost certainly found the problem with the sound on this thing because we've got a whole stack of broken traces here around the sound chip. And that to me seems like a smoking gun, as they say. I'm just going to check the continuity on these after I've done some rubbing. Make sure that they're still goodly. Goodly, goodly, badly, goodly, goodly, badly, badly, goodly. Looking good. Love it. Love it. Okay, so we just got to what sort of racing? Oh, what are we talking about? Racing. Popular racing spots. It's not all. Talked to a bunch of Hondas who think they're F1 living near me. Yeah. So, as I say, if I was to drive out to the drag track from here, there's two tracks out there. There's a race track. It's called Sydney Motorsport Park, and then there's another one which is Sydney Dragway, and that's actually an actual drag track. You know, with the there's one going now. Wow. That's, you know, with the lights, you know, what do they call it, the Christmas tree, the lights there and everything, and they race down side by side, that sort of thing. We used to actually, I used to be in a car club, and, well, I still am technically, I suppose. I'm not sure if I paid my fees, though. and we had an event at the drag track. It was all Mopars, for those who know what a Mopar is. Right. Of course, this may not even be coming from the drag track. It could just be some idiot. Some idiot. Where's pin 1 on this thing, do you reckon? All the screen printing's gone. All the screen printing's gone. I'm going to need to bring up an image of an LC2, and I wonder where I would find an image of an LC2. Can anyone tell me? Oh, what's happened to my mouse? Uh-oh. I did drop it. Did I break it? This ain't good. Maybe the battery's flat. Oh, no. I clicked something then. Oh, that just means that's where my cursor is? It's like my cursor's gone missing. What are you doing to me? Oh, no, there it is. I see my cursor. It's not moving. So, did I break my mouse? That's always possible. I did drop it. It's not the first time I've dropped it. I've dropped this mouse like many times. But this is going to make it fairly difficult for me if I can't move the cursor. I'm going to have to do this on my phone. What a dumb thing. I'm going to do this now. Just jump on to Recap a Mac. recapamac.com.au. Go here to Macintosh LC2. LC2, also known as the Performer 400. Here we go. So let's just have a look at this picketeer. Okay, so pin 1 is to the right. So I'm glad that I didn't just guess it. So that is a, let me just show you with the TWEEZERS. That is the remnant of the pin 1 dot just there. And PLCC chips, the pin 1 is indicated by a little indentation, which is just there. Oh, this mouse has been dropped lots of times. Don't give me that. This mouse knows what to expect. I honestly think the battery might be flat. I don't even remember the last time I changed the battery. I don't know that I have any double A's down here. I definitely have some up in the house. All right, I've just soldered one pin here, because that gives me the option to sort of wobble this if it's not quite in position. I feel like it's a little bit. Here we go. Okay, I think we're good. Good. Right, let's solder to our heart's content. I need more Fulks. I don't actually use Apple mice. I mean, I do on all these vintage Macs, but on my modern Macs, I use all Logitech mice. I don't particularly like Apple's mice. I've never really liked Apple's mice. I don't feel like they make apples to suit my mousing. I've always been very happy with Logitech mice. I mean, not all of them. There are some rubbishy ones, but this is like a cheapie. I can't even remember. I've just bought this. It has ended up down here because it's in the workshop. I mean, and I don't care about it. All right, let's have a look at this. I don't see any bridges, nor there, nor there, nor there. So, good job of soldering that. Thank you, me. Now we need to start doing our bodge wires. So I'm going to grab some of this wire that I use. This thickness one is 34 AWG, American wire gauge. I use this wire. It's an enameled wire, but the enamel just melts off when you apply a bit of heat. So, okay. I've also got this wire. Oh, shivers, I dropped it, didn't I? It fell down the side, I think. Oh, there it is. I've got this wire. And this is, what do they call it? Wrapping wire. Wrap wire. This one is, I don't know what thickness this is. Probably fairly similar. But this one has a plastic coating on it rather than enamel. So this one actually has plastic around it. So this is an option as well. I would use that if I was having to run a trace a long distance across a board. Well, it's not enamel wire, it's enameled, E-N-A-M-E-L-E-D. So it has an enamel on the outside. So it's the wire that you use on an electromagnet or on a transformer. So if you're looking at a transformer, you can see it's wrapped with a whole bunch of wire. That's the sort of wire. That's enameled wire. I will accept that there have been some good Apple mice in the past. I have been using a 2-button mouse for a lot longer than Apple have made them available. So that was really one of the things that, for me, stopped me from using an Apple mouse. If we think about like the old G4s that used to come with those beautiful clear and black mice, they looked magnificent, but they were still only a single button. And I've been using a double button. I mean, back in way earlier than that, in System 7 days, I used to use a mouse called a Kensington Thinking Mouse. And that had 4 buttons on it. And it also had the option to do chords. So it is, in other words, press 2 buttons at the same time. So you could program each button to do different things. So you could have left click, or left front, left back, right back. And then you could press the 2 front ones together to get another function, and the 2 back ones together to get another function. That was the Kensington Thinking Mouse, and I used to love that mouse. I just had it programmed with all sorts of stuff. All right, so I need to run a wire from the, whoopsie, you can't see it, from the to the. And I'm going to do that now. And I probably don't even need to go all the way. I just need to... Actually, you know what? I think I've put enough solder on this to bridge it. I'll just check that now. I may not even need to do anything else with this one. No, I didn't. I did not. Okay, so I still have to run a bodge wire. Fair enough. Oh yeah, the Yarra's nice. I went to some of the wineries around Yarra with my sister, because my sister lives in Melbourne. And yeah, Melbourne's got a lot to offer, that's for sure. I mean, I'm a Sydney boy, always have been. Not planning on going anywhere. But Right, that looks as secure, safe as houses, as they say. And what will happen to the houses? They will be consumed in the fire. Oh, I went to the wrong one. Good one, genius. What an idiot. What was that old mouse with a clear plastic crosshair on it? Clear plastic crosshair on it. Pass. Jeff is here. Hello there, Jeff. You do hear sound on the stream. We don't hear sound coming from this LC2, but mind you, we're pretty sure we know why, because I've found 3 broken traces. So just need to repair those, and we'll be good to go, I feel. And even if we didn't, we at least kept ourselves busy. Right. Now, with this stuff I do sometimes use 2 pairs of tweezers. My good friend Steve can't use 2 pairs of tweezers because he's only got 1 good pair. Haven't you, Steve? I was watching one of Steve's streams lately. Where are the streams, Steve? We haven't seen a stream from Steve in ages, but I was watching one with him working on, I can't even remember what it was, might have been a Mac 2. And he kept pulling out this pair of tweezers, and the end was just mangled to pieces. And I'm like, dude, come on, man. Okay, there we go. Got a little bit of solder on that. We just need to connect there to there. It's not that pretty. I get it. It's okay. It's all that matters is we've got continuity here. Whoopsie. And I will put a little bit of UV mask on it later on to sort of maybe try and make it look a little nicer. There we go. I do like to try and follow the contours of the original trace, but sometimes it's just like, no, that's too much of a pain. All right, let's check. Oh, I picked up the wrong leads. It helps if you get the leads of the right multimeter. There we go. That's why it's always good to tap them together at the beginning. There to there. Yay! Right, so that one's good. Now, I think this one was bad. Okay. This one's bad. Okay. That's my multimeter telling me it's about to switch off. Let's get some more of this wire. And I'm actually going to run it down this hole here. If I can. That's my plan. There we go. So it'll be poking up the other side. Veronica is here. Where? Hello, Veronica. Thank you for joining. Do you conspire with Jeff to arrive at the same time? I have to be very honest here. I was so embarrassed the other day. Last week I was streaming and Veronica joined. I was like, oh, hey, how's it all going? Anyhow, I clicked on Veronica's channel and I came to the realization that I was not subscribed. Can you believe that? So I was like, oh, goodness me, how embarrassing is that? How on earth could I have not have been subscribed? Search me. Right, now where did this poke out? I've gone all the way through, but I'm not sure where it's poking out. I might have to look at this from the side. There it is. Right here. Right there. So, move. Oh, what sort of soccer game were you watching, Jeff? I'm not much of a soccer fan myself, but... oh, thank you. I'm forgiven. Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, so here is the little wire poking through the other side. I'm going to just grab this. If I have the opportunity with a bodge wire, I do like to kind of run it through to the other side of the board. It just, to me, it just sort of feels like it's going to be safer and stronger and all that sort of stuff. There we go. So I'm just going to solder it to the side of that resistor, which is where it's going. There we go. Yeah, so Stian, every time I say that, I keep thinking to myself, am I pronouncing it the right way? I know you've told me how to pronounce it in the past. I'm pretty sure you have. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I remember, because that's the sort of brain I have. This is one of the really daunting things when it comes to capacitors, and I don't really have an easy solution. I guess it's one of the advantages of things like the Console 5 kits. So if people aren't aware of these, there's a company called Console 5, and they have kits that are available where someone has actually gone in and said, okay, these are all the caps you need to repair this particular product. And it's a nice, easy way of just getting the caps you need, not getting any extras. Because when I buy capacitors, I buy them in bulk. But that's expensive. That's fine if you're repairing lots of things, but if you're just wanting to repair one product, having to go and buy loads and loads and loads of capacitors is very, very expensive, especially if you're buying good quality ones. But when it actually comes time to try and find a capacitor, you jump onto a website like, I don't know, Mouser, Element 14, RS Components, DigiKey. DigiKey is who I use, by the way. You might search, you say, oh, okay, I want a 47 microfarad 16 volt electrolytic capacitor. You'll type that in and you'll get 1,500 results. And then, you think, okay, well, which one do I need? And because there are so many different things. There is obviously the physical dimensions of the capacitor itself. There's the distance between the leads. You've got ESR. Equivalent series resistance, that can vary as well. You got lifespan. Some of them will last a lot longer. They're rated to last a lot longer. Some of them will have like a 2,000 hour lifetime. Some will be 5,000 hours. Some will be 10,000 hours. And yeah, I mean, it's just it's a very daunting thing, and I do totally understand. But I am certainly not qualified to be going in and saying exactly which caps people should be buying for that sort of stuff. So. I haven't done a video on that, but you know who has? I think James Wages has. Oh, a local team of soccer. Okay, cool. We're horrible, but I watch in hopes we may someday not be. Oh, that's good. I like the optimism. I'm just checking all. My name rhymes with Ian. Stian. Okay, there you go. I may even remember that for next time. Stian. Okay. I have a stack of boards that have no cap kits for them and Console 5 cap kits on hand for most everything else as soon as I get the time to install them. Yeah, I know time's a big issue. Okay, just checking all the... Yeah, I've actually got to sort out an SE30 up here. I've got someone sent me an SE30 and they want to restore it all back to good. And the logic board is working perfectly now. But the analog board is being a bit funny. And I've got a bit of work to do to try and get that sorted. I'm not looking forward to it, but I need to do it because, to be honest, I've just had it for way too long. I mean, it doesn't help with the fact that I have been sick lately. Yep, okay. So this is another broken trace here. So we're doing another little bodge wire. This one is just going from there to this end pin. Now I just try and... There we go. That'll make it look a little bit nicer. And get some solder. This needs a little bit more flux on it. What flux is this one? Oh, this is the old sample 88. This is the first variation of the V3 flux from Sterry. This one I felt was a little bit smelly. I mean, when I say smelly, it's a nice smell. It's like a perfume smell, but I just felt like they overdid it a bit. So they pared it back a little bit for me for the final release. Carthor, hello, where have you been? Goodness me. Thank you for joining. Just to recap to anyone who is joining recently, this is the Macintosh LC2. I recapped it in my live stream last week, and at the end of that, I still wasn't getting any sound. And so today I thought I'll find out why I'm not getting sound, and found 3 broken traces around the sound chip. So that's, that's almost definitely it. I wonder if DigiKey would do same-day pickup if I drive up to them. Are you that close to them? So for me, DigiKey, I get the stuff I get from DigiKey comes from somewhere in Asia. I'm not sure where, but they come quick. So if I order on Friday, and the way it works with DigiKey for me is I've got to spend, I think, is it $40, $40 or $50? If I spend $40 or $50, I get free delivery, and it's very easy for me to spend $50 at DigiKey. I mean, generally I order my caps and then I go, oh, I'm $5 off. And then I just buy a whole bunch of 47 microfarad 16 volt tantalum capacitors because I'm always going through zillions of them until I get past the magic amount to get free delivery. And typically when I order on, say, a Monday, I'd probably get them on Thursday or Friday. Or if I order on a Friday, weekend doesn't seem to matter. Sometimes I've ordered on Friday and I get them on the Monday. So they're really, really good with delivery. But as I say, they're coming from they're not coming from the US. They're coming from somewhere in Asia. Mm-hmm. Zigzag Joe is sort of my American Bruce. I've seen Zigzag Joe has done some amazing stuff. I noticed he did a Grayscale SE30 mod, and that has to be applauded. Sean from Action Retro. Where's Sean today? Goodness me. Does he have something else on? How dare he? How dare he? I haven't watched his video yet. He released a video about a weird looking thing, but I haven't had a chance to watch that yet. It's been a busy day for me. You poked all the way through. Oh, yep. He's poked all the way through. So, where are you? Where are you? There he is. I can feel it. This is the wire here. You can't really see it because it's pointing straight up. Okay, so this is going to a middle layer. So maybe a ground or something like that. As you can see, this one just stops here. There's no trace coming off it on this side. So it's definitely going to an inside layer. Now I'm going to guess probably ground or voltage, one of the two. Can test it for ground quite easily. From there to there. No, it's not ground. Right, let's just trim the end of that off. And then patch this up to the other side here. So that needs to go through to just say Linux 3 times and Action Retro should appear. Dear, I like that one, hardware hacker. It's the running joke, isn't it? I mean, any sort of hardware he gets along, it's like, can you put Linux on it? Can you play Minecraft on it? Can you play Doom on it? I have actually dabbled a little bit with Linux. So I've got a couple of web servers here, and they're using Ubuntu. And then I've also, I put, was it Mint or something, onto an old Mac. It was a really old Mac. And it sort of was pretty good. It's too long still. Down, there you go. Need to get some solder. There we go. Need to tin that wire. There we go. That'll do. It's not brilliant. I've got a little wiggly line. I don't like a wiggly line. You can't see it, can you? Sorry, folks. I'm doing all this stuff and you can't see it. Go straight. Oh, my stomach just made a weird noise then. I think it's trying to tell me something. I've really bodged this one. I should have just done it from the other end first. It would have been so much easier. Never mind. Never mind. Doesn't matter when it's mine. It's only when it's a customer's that it has to look perfect. Mine can look a little bit rough around the edges. There we go. Right. Yeah, stop it. Stop it. Noodle trace. It's still all right. Yeah, I didn't put the fume extraction on, did I? So, yeah, I'm probably going to start going a bit loopy now. Right. Now we'll just check to make sure I've got continuity. Go from there to there. There's a break in there as well. It is. Shuzbutt. Oh no. Oh no. Yeah, no, it's busted there as well. So I've run the wire from here to here, and I should have run it from there to there. So I'm going to take this wire out and do it properly. Do it differently. Do it better. Let's make this our best one yet. So this one is going. Begone, wonky trace. Begone, noodle trace. All right. Do it better this time. Gonna get some melting of the enamel off that. Then I'm gonna go. I'll get my tweezers. Okay, looking good. Then we'll get this one. This one's going to be perfect. Second run at it, it's going to be bloody perfect, I tell you. To there. House of Moth is here. Hello to Jay. Welcome. Thank you for joining. I've got myself another 3D printing buddy in Jay from the House of Moth. He was the one that got me into 3D printing in the first place, and then he tired of it, shall we say. But he recently got another 3D printer and is now 3D printing like crazy. That's better. Okay. Yes, it was a hack job. Sorry. See. I mean, I'm quite happy to admit when my work is not quite up to scratch. But anyhow, we redid it, and it's a little bit better this time. Marginally, anyway. Okay, we got continuity there. We got continuity there. And we got continuity there. So they're all looking good. So I guess it's probably not a bad time to check and see if we've got sound now, because there was only 3 broken ones. Let's just change to the top view here. I might just zoom in a smidge, if I can find my remote. I put it somewhere stupid before, but I don't think I did this time. I think it's nearby. Going to be interesting when it comes time for me to stop this stream, because my mouse isn't working. So I don't actually have the ability to move the cursor. I might have to go up and get another battery for this mouse. I can't believe that I've lost the remote again already. Oh, it's It's on the floor. There we go. And so you can see fluxes everywhere. So this flux has a UV trace in it, so I can shine a UV light and see wherever flux might remain. Always good to make sure that you cleaned it off when you're finished. Now this board will go into the ultrasonic cleaner to get rid of the worst of it, or to get rid of all of it, but I'm going to just get the worst of it off with this toothbrush now before we fire it up. Oh, what's happened? People talking about hurricanes. Yes, no, that's not a good thing. Hurricanes are not a good thing. Don't get a lot of them around these parts. Alright, that'll do. Let's give this a try, see if we get any sound from it. I will set expectations here because if I found 3 broken traces, there could be a whole stack more that I haven't found. So, although I feel fairly confident that all the traces coming out of the sound chip are okay, there's awful lot of roughness around here. So, yes, no, hurricanes are not good. Very, very destructive. I get to see lots and lots of footage of hurricanes on Facebook. Lots of people go around filming them. I sort of think, shouldn't you go somewhere safe? But, you know, that's me. Click. Click. Okay, not plugging in the fan. We won't need it. Just going to plug in the speaker. And we're going to plug in some power. And I'm going to switch it on and we're going to see if we get any noise. Doesn't Australia get monsoons? Only up north, way north, not here. We do get monsoons, you know, in places like Darwin and stuff like that, or northern Queensland. And we do get cyclones up there, but again, not where I am, not in Sydney. Way too far south. Okie dokie. We're ready. I'm about to switch it on, so drum roll. I should put the speaker here, shouldn't I? No, I'll put the speaker near me. Okay, going to switch it on now. Oops, that probably made a terrible noise. Does Australia get tornadoes? No, I don't think so. Only cyclones. Okay. Okay, you ready? Yeah, are you ready? Are you ready? 3, 2, 1. Two thumbs up. I haven't done this in a while, but yeah. Victory dance. Okay, so yeah, it's working. We know that this thing is working. It was already working, but we just didn't have sound. But now that's a lovely, loud, clear chime that was. So feeling pretty good about that. So I just need to get it into the ultrasonic to get rid of all of that goop. And then this will be ready to go. This will be another one fixed. Oh, the RAM was the other thing I needed to check. When I connected this up last time, it said it had 6 megs of RAM when it should have had 8. And I need to try and figure out what's going on there. Because I'm sure these have 4 built in. Sure, they have 4 built in. Yeah, we should do the floppy drive. Oh, whoa. Yeah, we should do the floppy drive. I'll definitely do the floppy drive in this one. Because, you know, if you're going to service these things, got to do the floppy drive as well. Right. Oh, and I am going to replace the SCSI socket too, but I may not do that today. Stian, is it 2 megabytes on board or 4? Can anyone, let me know? LC2, is it 2 megabytes on board or 4 on board? I suppose I could just take the RAM out, can't I? And that's a way of finding out for sure. I may not be able to boot into an OS. It may not have enough. We'll see. We can probably boot into the one on this hard drive. Don't tell Steve that I'm starting this up with this hard drive again. He gets very upset if you don't back up the hard drive really quickly. Do. Alright, so I'm just going to be booting now with whatever's on board. We can just check and see how much that is. I'll just change to the top view. My foot pedal stopped working. That's happened before. Uh-oh. I am going to have to go get a battery for this mouse because I can't move a cursor. I'll describe to you what's happening on the screen here. I can't do anything. I can't change views. I can't. My foot pedal stopped working. Oh no, he's good. He sort of works. That's the microscope view. This is supposed to be the top view. This is the me view. So, okay, great. Now we're just stuck on scope view. All right. Oh, okay, this booted. That's good. About this Macintosh, 4 megabytes. So it is 4 on board. Okay, so that we can at least say for certain. Right, now, if you'll excuse me for a minute, I can't even set this to say back soon. I'm just going to mute my mic for a minute, and I can't even do that. Oh, well, my mic will cut out in a minute. I am about to go get a AA battery. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Let's hope that it is just the needing of a new battery and that I didn't actually break the mouse when I dropped it. I think I broke the mouse. Okay, well, it's definitely 4 megabytes on board. I can confirm that. But I still don't have a mouse. Just bear with me a minute. If worse comes to worse, I'll just go get another mouse. I know where there is one, so. Oh, something happened. It registered a click. Why is it registering a click but not movement? Okay, now we're starting to get a little bit of an understanding of what's going on. I did definitely break the mouse. I'm going to have to go get another mouse. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Phew. Now, I have to plug in the little dongle thing. And for that I need to find a spare USB slot. I have to apologise for this. This is not what I had planned. God, I hope this doesn't break all my cameras. I've mistreated that mouse so much. It finally said to me, no more. Okay. Oh, you are joking. Oh no, it's not on. There we go. Phew. Welcome back. Yeah. Okay. So sorry about that, everyone. I wasn't able to do anything with no mouse. I wasn't able to put on the back soon sign. I wasn't able to change views. I wasn't able to do jack squat. This mouse I got for very cheap. Do you know how I managed to get it for very cheap? Have a look at it. It's awful, but it was cheap. Right. Okay. So what we were able to ascertain then is it's definitely 4 megabytes on board. Now I have these two SIMs here. Now these are typically 2 megabyte ones. I mean, maybe they're not, but normally these ones that have the 4 chips with a little square chip on the end there like that, these are almost always 2 megabytes. And you just take a glance at them and go, oh yeah, they're 2 megabytes. But they were behaving like they're only 1, and maybe they are only 1. I am going to have to try and repair this mouse because I repair things. It's stupid. Stupid for me not to. Right. Here's my cute little screen. Let's just fire this up again with this hard drive. Steve would just be so mad at me. I've fired this up like now 6 times or something. And because one day it's just going to not spin up. And he'll be like, I can't believe you didn't back it up. But yeah, if this comes up as 6, then they're just 1s, even though they look like 2s. I'll end up putting 4s in this. I'll put 2 4s in, which will give me 8 plus the 4, which theoretically should be 12, but it'll only be 10, because these computers can only address 10 megabytes of RAM maximum. That's just how they is. Yep, 6. So they must be 1s, even though they look like 2s. Oh well. So be it. So be it. Right, well that's fantastic. We got sound, so that was definitely that was a success. I'm happy about that. A few broken traces, 3 in total. Repaired those, and our sound is back. So what I will do now is I'll just do a quick little restoration on this floppy drive, and then I'll probably call it a day. So if anyone has seen my video on restoring these floppy drives before, I'm not a fan of the video. I'd love to redo it. I was filming it with a particular camera where I was unhappy with the video, but I wasn't going to go and re-record it. But I might do that one day. Okay, so we've got to get the drive out. In order to do that, we've got to undo these screws here. Oh, that looks like a big one. Yeah, there's definitely 4 megabytes on board. We tested that because we tested it with no RAM there, and it showed us we had 4. It's kind of irrelevant. I mean, I'll take those ones that I thought were 2s that are actually 1s. I'll just tuck them away somewhere, but I'm going to put 4s in it, so it really doesn't matter. I'm just going to plug this into the computer so I don't lose it. A lot of the time with my own computers, I don't even bother restoring the floppy drive because I just don't really use floppy disks anymore. You know, when you've got Blue SCSI, or Zulu SCSI for that matter, and they've got the Wi-Fi built in, you can just turn your SCSI drive into, you know, sort of a network connection, and then you just use like FTP to transfer stuff around. That's what I do anyway. Or you can just take the SD card out, and depending on whether you've got that card accessible or not, because they're not always accessible. Alright, so the first thing you have to do is make the drive go downwards, go plump, like as if you had a disc in it. And you can trick it that with the 800K drive. All you have to do is just move this thing. Oh my god, that's stiff as. This is jammed? Is this jammed? I think this might be jammed. I think it might be jammed because this is probably failed and it's jammed failed. Either that or the grease is like really sticky. I feel like this is jammed. Easiest way to check that out is to remove the ejector motor. Okay. No, that is just it. It is, this thing is just seized up with, like, I guess old grease. But anyhow, so with an 800K drive, all you have to do is push that out and it'll just close down. With this drive, you've got to lift this thing. You've got to lift this thing out like that. Then you can do that. And then it closes. This is so sticky. Okay, once it's closed, we can then take this little guy off. Like that. Just lift that up and lift the little plastic thing up and slide that off. And then we're just going to undo these here. Let's do it with tweezers so you can see what I'm doing. Boing. Boing. And then this will just come out with a little bit of wiggling out that side first and then out that side. And then you got that bit. One thing to do, this is something I learned the hard way. Always give this a spin, because if this isn't spinning or if it's making horrible noises, just stop now. Don't bother with the restoration. If this motor is gone, the drive's stuffed. And we have to take these little Teflon things off. Teflon, what do you call them? What do you call those things? Washers. Washers. Sorry, brain went blank there for a second. Okay, so these need to be cleaned, and then I'll ultrasonically clean them after that. I get the worst of the grease off, and then I ultrasonically clean them. Then I rinse them in alcohol. And then I've got to get rid of all of this grease here. And of course we have to look in the eject motor, because we've got the old cheese gear. And if anyone is wondering why that gear is so soft, why that one fails and no other gears in the mechanism fail, it's because it was designed to fail. When Omron made these little motors, they put a softer gear, softer plastic in there, so so that if the mechanism were to seize, that cog would break and therefore not destroy the motor. Because if the motor gets seized, it overheat and die. So the idea was that if there's a blockage, something to cause the motor to, or the mechanism to stop moving, that cog would break, and you would then, all you have to do is replace the cog, and you'd be, or get rid of the problem, and then replace the cog, and you'd be good to go. Too easy. Sorry about the ads, everyone. I know people complain about the ads. They don't like ads. I mean, the main problem with ads, in particular in a live stream, is the fact that it's, you know, if you're watching TV or something, it stops while the ad comes on. But when you're watching a live stream, I'm still going, and who knows? I could have said something super interesting that you just absolutely do not want to miss. Highly unlikely, but it is possible. Getting some of this dust off, get the worst of it. This part here I don't like to stick in the ultrasonic cleaner. It's just there's too much here that I think could trap moisture and cause problems down the line. We've got 3 little micro switches here. One of them detects whether there's a disk in the drive. Another one detects if the disk has the write protect thing on, and the other one detects whether it's a high density disk or a low density disk. So you missed the whole boot up with 4 megabytes RAM while I was watching a stupid ad. Damn, you need to get onto the skip faster. Some of those ads go for a long time. But one thing I think is fairly sure is that advertising on the YouTube platform is going to get worse and not better. That would be my assessment of the thing. I don't use ad blockers. I know a lot of people that do use ad blockers. I don't use ad blockers, and although I do get frustrated by ads, I'm not going to pretend that I don't. I do have an interest in advertising, so I do actually like to see some of the ads that they serve on the platform to kind of see what, is it tailoring these ads to me? Is it going to show me an ad that I'm interested in, or is it going to show me something stupid? I mean, am I going to see an ad for dog food? I don't own a dog, so that's just a waste of money for the advertiser. And so for me, I'm just always interested to see what sort of ads it shows. Okay, now, this is really, really gooey. So I'm just going to clean this, try and get as much of this old grease off as I can before putting it into the ultrasonic cleaner. Because while the ultrasonic cleaner is quite good at cleaning in little nooks and crannies, it's not too good with like great big chunks of grease. It's not going to get rid of the whole lot. You're probably going to still find there'll be a little bit of grease on there after it was ultrasonically cleaned. You said dog food, now your phone will blow up with dog food. Maybe everyone's will. Everyone here on watching the stream, all of a sudden you're going to start seeing ads for dog food. Sorry. I mentioned at the beginning of the stream that I've been doing a lot of this lately. I did eight floppy drive restorations. Well, 7 technically, because one of them was beyond repair. But I did end up using that 7th one, rated it for parts for some of the others. One of them was missing an eject motor altogether, so I took the eject motor from the one that was beyond repair. But I managed to get this down to a pretty well refined process. I won't put these in the ultrasonic during the live stream because it's just too noisy, but I would typically do these first so that they could be ultrasonicking while I'm working on the rest of the drive. But as I say, I'm not going to ultrasonic them until after the stream is over because noise. That's really stubborn grease on that there. Stubborn. And then the other spot for grease is under here. These little dots there and there. Yeah, I mean, look, the way I feel about it, Inks Cube, is how long to ultrasonic clean. I would usually do probably 10 minutes. 10 minutes in total. 5 each side, 5 minutes each side, maybe. Yeah, probably about that. I mean, I've been doing them with 5 minutes on one side and 10 minutes on the other side, but I'm not sure that it needs the 10 minutes, to be honest. And then, of course, it doesn't take long to dry these. I then take them out of the ultrasonic, drop them into isopropyl alcohol. That sort of displaces the water and, rinses off any detergent and stuff like that. And then I drop them in a little toaster oven. And because they're metal, they dry in no time at all because the toaster oven just gets the metal hot and then the isopropyl alcohol just evaporates away. So sometimes I get a little bit lazy, all right? Okay, I accept that. That's me. Sometimes I do get a little bit lazy. But on the whole, I like to make sure everything works. Never been particularly fussed about how things look, but I do like them to work. And so I would rather restore the floppy drive, get it working, make it functional, than not. rather than just sort of say, oh, I'm not going to use a floppy drive, so I won't restore it. Though I have done that with my own computers because I am lazy sometimes. On the whole, I like things to work. And so, yeah, on the whole, I say that because, as I say, I have had instances where I don't even bother to repair the floppy because I'm like, I'm not going to use it. Right, eject mechanism. Now, this one looks like it's probably still okay. I think the cog will still be intact. Number one, this is, it's an LC2. It's not like not like an SE or something. It's a little bit newer. And the other is that this little, cam thing is kind of, it's sticking up in the right spot. It's sticking in the right spot as if this just successfully ejected last time. So, yes, I only put the 2 brackets in the ultrasonic cleaner. I don't put anything else in there. Everything else I just try and clean with a toothbrush. Alright, so the cog is in excellent condition. Okay, my foot pedals aren't working again, but that's okay, because we have a functional mouse now. There we go. So, this isn't like dark yellow, but I don't think this is a reproduction. It might be, but I don't think so. Typically, if you're having a reproduction, you wouldn't have these little mold, because this is molded, and the reproductions are usually 3D printed. And as you can see, this has got all these little dots in here, which indicates this is molded. So yeah, so it is original, but it doesn't appear to be anywhere near as soft as the later ones. So I probably don't even need to replace it, but I will. Yes, sir, I will. Here we go. Ah-ha-ha! I've come across this before. There are 2 different types of eject gear. This is the second type. And one of the main differences between them is the size of the hole in the center. The size of the hole in the center is much smaller than the other eject gear. Now, I do have some of these, but I'll be blowed if I know where they are. I made some. I made ones of both kinds. But the other one is the most common, so that's the one I printed most of. Let's just try this one. This one looks like it might be a little bit narrower. Maybe. See the difference in the hole? Down the middle? See how the one on the left is a really small hole and this one's a really big fat one? When I 3D print these, you can see they look a little bit blobby on the top. But that's okay. The top part is not important. The important parts are the gears and the base. The base is important that it has this little ridge at the bottom because that means it has less surface contact with the plastic. So it's creating less friction when it spins. So this little bumpy bit at the bottom, the little bit that juts out, that's really, really important. So that is nice and sharp. So when you're 3D printing, if you're printing from one side to the other, this has got a line through it, this one. This is why this one hasn't been used. This is a reject. Yeah, it's the same as like 3D printing with a conventional printer is if you try and print in space, you get strings, and with resin printing, if you try and print in space, you can end up getting little blobs. So I print mine I'll show you how I print them. So this is clear resin that this was printed in. So these are how I print these cogs. I print them in a little tower like that, and they're printed sort of up this way. So this side, the blurry side that you're seeing there, that's all has nice sharp resolution, but then it's a bit blobby on this side. But it doesn't matter that they're blobby on this side. It doesn't really make any difference. So I don't know what to do here. I mean, I can put the old cog back, but I have to either try and find if I've 3D printed some of those thin ones and stored them somewhere, because I can't put these size cogs in. I'll show you what happens if I do. It just doesn't fit. The cog doesn't fit. It's absolutely swimming around that there. So I need to get the other one. So I may end up actually having to 3D print those. In the meantime, should I just put the old one back? I don't know. I don't know. What do you reckon, guys? We know it works, so I guess we could keep it in there for the moment. And this one doesn't seem anywhere near as cheesy as the other ones. Quicksilver Oz, hello there. More tasteful than the American cheese. Oh dear. Okay, so look, here's what I'm going to do for now. I'm going to put this back together with this cog in it, because then it'll work. But I'm going to make a note of it, that it's the original cog, and I will look at replacing it later on. But I need to 3D print. This is the first type of cog that I made, is this sort. But then I came to the realization that this was a very there are nowhere near as many failed ones of these as there are of the other sort. So when I did a big bulk print, I did a bulk print of that sort of cog. I wonder if these ones... No. It's one of the things that kind of gets me with these, with some of these reproductions that you get. Not all of them, but some of them. Yeah, you see, here's one. They don't even bother to put the bit on the bottom. This bit. This little ridgy bit here. See the little... Oh, you can't see it, really. Let me get rid of all the iso alcohol. This little circular ridge down the bottom. And that is there for a reason. I mean, this cog has been designed this way to reduce the amount of surface that is touching the bottom of this, this mechanism, so that it spins freer. And when a lot of the time when these people do the reproductions, they don't even have the little bump there. It's just stupid. I do, and I have. So I'll quickly explain for you the issue that I have here, Quicksilver Oz, because I have actually just been explaining this situation. There are two different types of cogs for these eject mechanisms. They're the original ones, and then there are these later ones. And the later ones, there aren't anywhere near as many of them. They're only from models that are later on. And it's probably a different brand of motor. Yeah, here we are. This is a Sanwa motor rather than Omron. So they used to use Omron motors, and they obviously decided later on to start using Sanwa. And the Sanwa motors, they have a different size spindle here. This little plastic thing here is different size and it's different distance. So you need different cogs. Now I have designed, and I've also 3D printed, both sizes. But I have no idea what I did with the first type. Yeah. I printed a stack of the second type. I've got hundreds of them. Hundreds of them. But I don't have many of this one. So I'm going to have to 3D print some of these. I'll do it in the clear because I like the look of the clear. But let's just grease this up so that we can at least get it working. I'm off. Good night. Thank you for joining. Welcome to Macintosh. Someone was making a metal version of this gear. I'm not sure if that's a good idea. I'm really not. And apart from everything else, these 3D printed ones are as strong as anything. I did some tests, and I set it up with a motor, and I was getting the equivalent of thousands of ejects, and it just wasn't making a difference to the cog at all. I honestly don't think it's necessary to go with metal. All right. Sanwa. Sorry, I'm just looking for a little piece of metal. No, I can't find it, so I'm probably going to have to grab some new stuff. Now I can't find the spool. Everything goes missing with Brancus. Everything goes missing with Brancus. Here it is. Oh, crap. Right. All right. The next thing that I do, I'll mention this at the beginning of this live stream, but I know there are a lot of people that weren't here at the beginning. I just solder on little bits of wire to the motor so that I can just send 12 volts to it and make it spin like crazy. Yeah. Okay. So, got this one. And this one. There you go. It's rough as guts, but that's okay. It's not permanent. Alright, so then I do that, and then do that. Now, admittedly, I haven't had to add any new cogs to this, so this is probably unnecessary. But it's sort of like a running in an engine. I sort of run in the new cog. I just let it run for a little while. Okay, 1, 2. Buckle my shoe. And flip him upside down there. Switch on the power. And there he goes. This one's running well. But this is the original cog, so no big deal there. Here we go. And then what I will do is I will do the same thing. I'll just demonstrate this very, very quickly. I'm jumping ahead here. So, because I haven't ultrasonically cleaned yet. But what I would then do with these is I would put the drive all back together. So, him go in here. Wrong way around. Him go in here. And then him go in here. And we'll screw this. I'm not going to worry about these washers for the moment. This probably won't work terribly well because I don't have any grease on it. I will have grease on it, but I'll do that after the ultrasonic cleaning. Pop this in here. There we go. Put on the springe. Put on the second springe. Then what I do is I take this spring here and I undo it. That comes undone there. Then I put that in there, and I put that there, and that will mean the drive will just automatically return to the, it'll just keep dropping down. This desperately needs grease. But then what I'll do is I will get my power, I'll attach it to here, and then I'll fire it up. Now this isn't falling back down again. It's not falling back down again because it's in such bad condition. But then what I do is I just let this run for a while, just ejecting like this, just to make sure that everything is all working properly. So that when I put it all back together again, I know that I'm not going to put it all back together and then suddenly find it doesn't eject a disk. So yeah, that's basically what I do with these. I let that run for maybe 2 minutes, something like that. I also monitor the amount of amps that it's using, because if it's getting up really high, it means there's too much stress, too much strain on the motor. But this will be working swimmingly. This main spindle motor, I've had one fail, yeah, but I think it got something in it. I think something might have fallen inside it and bounced around and damaged. But yeah, I have had one of those fail. So it can happen in the main spindle motor. All right. Oh, crap, I left this. Oh, stupid doo-doo head. There we go. Just need to get it into a position where I can remove it. But this drive will be perfect again. So, what do I have to do now? I've got to go 3D print some cogs of the first type rather than this second type. So I'm going to have to go and do that. That's a big pain in the backside. And then I can replace this cog. But in the meantime, this Sanwa motor, these cogs aren't as susceptible. So, yeah, look, anything in particular, anything with moving parts has the potential to fail. And of course, the spindle motor is moving. Is moving. So, yeah. Okie dokie. Well, I think I'm probably going to wrap things up now. What are we? 1:30. Yeah, I've got to go get me some lunch. I'm hungry. Oh, the other thing I do with these, I also clean this up. This is the later type of these motors, where these drives, where this motor is actually part of this mold here. You can see the older ones, you could actually remove this motor. You can't anymore, which is a bugger. It'd be good if you could remove them. But I can basically I can undo these two screws here, that one and that one, which will allow me to take the heads out. I can then clean up this little piece of metal that helps guide the heads backwards and forwards on this worm gear, and then I clean up the worm gear so that it'll all be greased up as well. So I really should do that now. Why am I talking about it when it's something that needs doing? Why? I'm a silly person. Okay, so I will then just get that out of the way for the moment. Out of the way. There you go. And then I can get my toothbrush and clean this up. I'm pretty happy with the way the stream has gone today, in that I started with a computer that had no sound. I investigated, I found broken traces, I repaired those traces, and now it has sound. I mean, that is, problem, it's fault, diagnosis, repair, and good. They don't always happen like that, but they did today, and I'm very, very pleased with that. So I'm just super glad that was the way everything turned out. And we'll just get this. Gunky. gunky. Oh, Steve's back. Steve's busy playing with tape drives, so he hasn't been very busy in the chat. That would be my guess anyway. If I was to take a guess, I'd say Steve has been playing with tape drives. Amazing, like, I don't know if people still use tape drives, but for a while there, that was what you did when you wanted to back up large amounts of data. You use a tape drive. It was the only cost-effective way of doing it. And it was big. I mean, and virtually everywhere that needed to store data would have a tape drive. And we used to use some software called Retrospect. And the way that would work is you would install a plugin on every single computer that you had in the place. And that plugin would allow a central server to then access any files on any computer, then back it up. So we would be able to, just from that central server, back up every computer in the place just using Retrospect, and it was great. It worked really, really well. I mean, there's a bit of a learning curve with Retrospect, but once you understood how it worked, it was quite intuitive. Folks still use them, less now, but it's still there. There you go. Okay. Yeah, I mean, Retrospect was the thing. In the Mac world, I should say, made by Dance, D-A-N-T-Z, Dance. I need to dance. I actually have a few tape drives here. When the company that I work for stopped using tape, they just had these two. I think they were either Firewire or a USB. I can't remember, but they had these two tape drives, and I was like, "Oh, I'll take them." I was like, "Yeah, sure, go for it. We don't need them." So I took them, and I have them, and I have all the tapes, and I have absolutely no reason to use it, but I still like it. Okay. No. Okay, that's going around that way. Put you in there. Great. Put you in there. Can I access that? No, that's not going to work. There we go. That'll work. So let's put this one back together, and then I will finish the stream. I promise. Promise. So I'm going to go eat something. I want something I didn't really have much of a breakfast this morning. And it's now lunchtime, so I'm super hungry. And then I need to get in a walk, because I need to walk, keep myself healthy. And I wouldn't mind taking advantage of the day as well for the walk, because it's a beautiful day here. Beautiful winter's day. Oh, 20 degrees. My watch is telling me it's 20 degrees. That's pretty darn warm for winter. What's for lunch in Sydney today? That's a good question. I have no idea. I will look to my wife for inspiration. Because if she has already eaten, then it'll need to be something for myself. If she has not eaten, it'll be something for the both of us. And so that will make a difference as to what we end up doing. Squirts. Squirts. There we go. Looking good. Yeah, winter for us here. Don't like it. Not a big fan. I mean, look, we can't really complain too much in Sydney. It's not like it's not like the same as some people when it comes to winter. We get it pretty easy. Okay, I'm going to put some grease here in readiness. I'm going to put some grease here, and here, and here, and here. Going to town with the grease. There we go. And then the rest is going to be on the other parts that come later on. So that's as far as I can go with that particular piece. Feeling pretty good about that though. And then we just got the these pieces will get ultrasonic. Then I will grease these up. And then I'll put it all back together again, and in theory we'll all have a sort of functional floppy drive. And then sometime in the future, when I am when I have the energy, I will replace the cog in this with a reproduction of mine own design. Okay, well, it's time for me to wrap things up. So I'm going to go here to the Just Me. There we go. Oh, look, the sun's shining on me. Yeah. So a big thank you to everyone who has joined for the live stream today. I'm just going to do this. No, I'm not. I'm going to do this. There we go. So thank you to everyone who has joined. Thank you for everyone who chatted in the chat and kept all that all lively and kept it interesting and keep me company while I'm doing boring stuff like that. It all went pretty well today in terms of what I had planned to do and what I ended up doing. So that's great. I've still got some work to do on an SE30. Hopefully I'll get some time to do that later today. Thank you for the super chats. I did get a super chat in there today, so thank you for that. That's much appreciated. I am trying to get back into live streaming weekly, so hopefully there'll be another one next week. And yeah, thanks again. Hope to see you at the next one. Desperately tries to find the button in time. There we go. Thank you and bye-bye.